Welcome to Stoked, the podcast that helps adventure elopement photographers hit six figures and beyond in their businesses without hustling on social media. I'm your host, Megan McPhail, a former burnt-out emergency veterinarian that quit my hard-earned career to become an elopement photographer. Now I'm living a life I absolutely love, full of travel, adventure, and financial abundance, and I am hell-bent on helping you do the same. Are you ready to start booking out your calendar with dream couples in breathtaking locations and feeling genuinely stoked about your elopement photography business, life, and bank account? Then let's dive into this week's episode. Hey, it's your host, Megan McPhail.
And your co-host, Todd Reedy.
Today's episode is all about styled shoots and the importance of building your portfolio as an elopement photographer. First of all, I just want to apologize if I sound a little off. I am a little ill. So I apologize, but this is a really important episode, so we got to get it out there for you guys. So let's talk all things styled shoots. Styled shoots are one of the reasons why I was able to build my elopement photography business as quickly as I did in as many areas and locations as I did. So I'm going to share with you why it's important and why you really shouldn't try to skip this step. So for starters, if you want to book your dream clients at higher end prices, you need to show them what they're going to be receiving from you as a service provider. You know, like the people who are willing to spend $5,000, $6,000, $9,000, $10,000 on an elopement, they want to know what they're going to get. So having a beautiful, consistent portfolio in the locations where you want to shoot and where your dream clients want to elope is kind of non-negotiable. So that's kind of step one, or like one of the main reasons, is that you need to have these images to show to people so they know what they're purchasing, essentially what they're investing in. They don't want to invest all this money and all this time in researching a photographer and ultimately not know what they're getting. So they want to see your photos, ideally see the photos from the same location where they're eloping. They want to see reviews, they want to see testimonials, they want to see your face, so there's a lot going into it, but we're going to focus on the styled shoots. The other important part of doing styled shoots is that it really is almost like planning an elopement day. Like you're having to coordinate with vendors, you're having to scout out locations, you're having to understand the logistics of getting from here to there and this trailhead and this parking lot and this bathroom. There's a lot that goes into planning a styled shoot that translates exactly into elopement planning. So I would rather you get some of your mistakes in planning or in logistics or in the day itself. I'd rather you experience those mistakes with like two friends who are modeling for you than with an actual couple that has spent a lot of money. So not only are you building your portfolio with these styled shoots, but you're also working out any kinks with your elopement planning process, the day of elopements, that kind of stuff. And you're getting real-time practice with how elopements work.
Oh, and I'll add in, it allows you to build and like make an actual timeline detailed enough that you could give to a client. And like, if you've never done an elopement before, if you're coming from the wedding world, usually the timeline is potentially handed to you and you just follow it. So now like you're the boss, you're in charge. And so it allows you to like build that document to then share and actually follow as your plan for the day.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, that's important when it comes to being an elopement photographer. Networking with other vendors is important too. I mean, I mentioned that briefly, but I know people who have hired vendors for styled shoots who ended up being horrible. And so they know never to recommend that vendor again. Or maybe you become vendor besties with a florist and a hair and makeup artist, and you become like the dream team of elopements in XYZ location. So don't be afraid to get out there and start planning some styled shoots. The next common question is like, well, how do I do it? And don't make it harder than it has to be. I think that's really what people worry about, is asking someone to model or for a dress or whatever, and someone saying no. And that's okay if someone says no, but get yourself out there, ask friends, ask family members, ask coworkers to model for you. If you can find a couple that already has a suit and a wedding dress, that's awesome. But you can also work with local dress shops. I remember reaching out to a local dress shop when I had 300 Instagram followers in 2016 and asked if I could borrow some really nice dresses for these styled shoots that I had, like all planned in my head. And they said, yeah, and you can get them for free. And they were so excited to work with me, and I was a nobody. But they want content and they want to see their dresses on people. They have to post on social media too. They have a website they have to keep up on. So they always lent me dresses for free. The only time I ever paid was one time when it was muddy and they had to clean the dress and it cost like $150. But I got every dress for free. They're just nice dresses, like super nice dresses that they just let me walk out of the store with, and they let me come in and peruse the racks and see which ones met my vibe the most for what I had planned. And it was super, super fun. So my first step was always really trying to find the couple and getting a date nailed down, as well as a location. And then I'd move on to vendors. And the dress was kind of number one. I would hire a hair and makeup artist because, again, I wanted to network with people. So I really kind of changed around the vendors that I like to work with, and I always offered to pay them. Some of them would give me discounts, but I always offered to pay full price because I wanted to be on their good side. And I'd get flowers because I love flowers, so I wasn't going to like skimp out on that. And when I first started, I would really kind of just take a couple out for like 45 minutes at golden hour and just take some pretty photos. But I want you to do better than I did. Because we are in the habit of booking all day elopements with our couples. It's the best way to serve our couples, and it's the best way to make a income, like a livable, profitable income, is to book all day elopements. So you really need to show what that looks like. And that doesn't mean you have to spend 8 hours with your friends running all over the place. Like, you can shorten it up and just get like the key shots and stuff like that. But I want to see like a first look. I want to see getting ready. I want to see getting into a vehicle. I want to see activities like going to a brewery or stand-up paddle boarding or hiking or jeeping or whatever it is that you feel compelled to shoot. You know, show off these activities, eating pizza in the mountains or something, like whatever it is that you would also like to like book in the future, like plan those activities, do a whole ceremony, get some emotion going. One of my favorite things to do is to get like a real in love couple, maybe who's been married for a while, to do a styled shoot and actually like say new vows to each other during the ceremony. And like, you'll get real emotion out of people, and you can make it super enjoyable for this couple that you have for your styled shoot.
Yeah, we've also had couples that maybe they weren't happy when they first got married. They weren't happy with their photos, and so they got like a second chance. And so those type of couples like love the opportunity to get in front of a camera, especially if for free, but if you're going to pay your couple as well, like that's even an incentive. Let's see, we've had, in my case for video, we need vows. And so we've had couples that have just reread their vows for a video, but then that's a way, if you're just doing photo, that they can like relive those and like there's going to be emotion there. I did a styled shoot with a couple that had gotten married several years back, and they like took their vows, but they like updated them to be specific to like the location. So this one was very specific to like a skiing elopement. And so they like changed the wording to make it like fit that, even though they'd already said their vows in their first wedding. One of my best friends, they modeled for us, and they got married like 10 years ago. So they literally like just made up vows, but like the emotion was so good because it was like them, right? So there's like a million different ways to do it with any kind of couple that you get or that you choose to make it real and make it like an emotional, happy event that's going to look good on photo and video.
Yeah. And I think that should be the key of all of these styled shoots, is trying to make it as much fun for the couple as possible, because that's what you need to be doing on an elopement day. So it's just good practice, and it's going to feel good. And you can even ask them for a review afterwards. So they can be so much fun and so rewarding, and the couples can have so much fun. And I've paid couples $150 or nothing or just dinner. So I've done all kinds of things. It's just up to you to talk with the couple and see what they want in exchange for like the photos and their time and stuff like that. But a lot of them that I've worked with have just been really excited to do it. So you might be worried to ask people, but you'd be surprised at how many people would be excited to do it. And I have one example, which is actually funny because I'm heading to New Orleans tomorrow to hang out with my best friend. And at one point in my photography career, I was like, oh, it'd be so cool to book New Orleans elopements and hang out with my best friend when I do it. So I brought a dress down with me to New Orleans, and my best friend posted in like a college Facebook group and was basically like, if you're in a couple and you want to model for my friend, just email her your photos here and a little bit about you and your significant other, and she'll be picking one person to do a styled shoot with her on this date or whatever. And I got like 100 emails. I'm not even joking. These college kids were so excited, like writing me their whole life story to like get me to pick them. Like they were winning $1 million or something like that. And I ended up shooting this couple that was in med school together, and they were engaged. And I've kind of followed them ever since, where, you know, they graduated med school and they did residencies and they got married and they have a baby now and stuff like that. And they're still my Facebook friends. So definitely use styled shoots as a way to not only build your portfolio, to not only build your business, but to also connect with people, because that's why so many of us are drawn to elopements in the first place, is that connection. Hey photographer, do you dream of having a successful elopement photography business but don't know where to start? Imagine having the confidence to double or triple your prices, booking your calendar solid with dream couples and breathtaking locations, and feeling genuinely stoked about your business, your life, and your bank account? Then I'd like to introduce you to STOKED Academy, the go-to membership community for adventure elopement photographers that are ready to scale their businesses to 6 figures and beyond, all without hustling on social media. In STOKED Academy, you'll get access to everything you need to build a 6-figure business, like mastering marketing strategies, pricing for profit, elopement planning, worksheets, templates, spreadsheets, and so much more. Plus, you'll connect with a positive, supportive community of elopement photographers who are as passionate as you are. And the best part? It's insanely affordable, like less than the cost of a new memory card for your camera. Plus, as a member, you'll get to join me for a monthly group coaching call where we dive deep into strategies that will take your business to the next level. If this sounds awesome, then head over to stokedacademy.com to learn more about the membership and join us. I can't wait to see you in there. Now, the next question I know you have is, why not just go to a content day or styled shoot or something like that? And you can absolutely do that. I've been to several. I know people who host content days. I've hosted multiple workshops with Todd, 2 in Iceland, 1 in Moab, and I've been toying around with the idea of doing another one. So why plan a styled shoot all by yourself and not just go to like one of these group styled shoots? And you can do both. Like, just because you do one or the other doesn't mean you can't do both. I think workshops and like content days with lots of photographers can, you know, have their place with like networking and building friendships and stuff like that. But I've also been to some where the styling was not anything that I wanted to shoot, or it was just way too over the top. It looked like models. It didn't look like real people. It didn't look like 2 people in love. It didn't look like 2 people who were actually eloping. It looked like over the top, artsy kind of stuff, which is fine. But those photos didn't really ever see the light of day. I've also had some really bad experiences with workshops where, again, the styling was weird, or we didn't go to the right locations, or one time the model was only 15 years old and they're trying to get her to kiss like a 27-year-old man. And she was like, I've never kissed anybody before. And it was just like a disaster. So the cool thing about doing your own styled shoot is, again, you're getting elopement planning experience. You are doing it like exactly the way you envision it, and like it should represent the types of elopements that you want to shoot in the future. So it could be your vibe and your activities and all that kind of stuff. And then plus I really worry because the ones that I've done in the past, like the workshops, it's models, it's overly stylized, and it's just not real life, and it doesn't show activities. It's just like pretty photos at golden hour. Whereas again, I want you guys to have like a whole day's worth of activities kind of lumped into your styled shoot, so you can show a couple, hey, this is a whole gallery of what you can do all day in this location, because that's important for selling this stuff. And so that's how I plan my workshops and content days and stuff like that. There's always like first looks and activities and multiple locations and a ceremony in addition to just photos, and like a first dance or a champagne pop or something. Like, we're trying to get more content than just pretty photos of a model couple. So just some things to think about.
Another dig on workshops or content days is you're probably going to be there with several, if not many, other photographers. So one, you're all getting similar shots. If you're all like marketing to the same location, you're going to be competing with those other folks showing kind of the same photos, which isn't necessarily a great thing. As well as you're going to have to be like rubbing elbows and like trying to like, post up to try to get the best composition. Sometimes you won't be in that spot, so you won't be able to really shine and like really fully show your like skill as a photographer in that type of setting, just because you're going to be competing for space with others.
Yeah, that reminds me of some of the workshops we've done where attendees were like, well, we want to do this and we want to do that and we want to do this. And it's like, I can't have you doing all the things in your mind with my models, because they're not robots. They're human beings. I have to protect them and their ability to pose and do all this stuff in front of 12 people. And yeah, so you're not going to be able to get all the shots and do all the things that you would normally do on an elopement day or on a styled shoot on your own. So styled shoots are also a good place to kind of play around with things. Like, if you plan your own, you can play around with a new lens or a new artistic shot you've been wanting to do, or some new poses or something. And like, if it doesn't work out, that's okay. Like, you're not doing it on somebody's elopement day. So it's also a good time to play around with some creative aspects and stuff like that. So I think there's a place for everything to exist together, but I think it's also like pros and cons to all. I think the pros of doing your own styled shoots is that it is going to end up being cheaper. And a lot of people go to more like these multi-day workshops so that they can avoid some of the planning aspects. But as an elopement photographer, you're going to be handling a lot of this planning stuff. Our last elopement of the year was a couple weeks ago, and our hair and makeup artist had to go to the emergency room the night before our morning elopement. So we kind of had to reach out to our network of vendors, of hair and makeup artists and other photographers and stuff like that. And I went location scouting, but Todd sat down for an hour and basically called and contacted every hair and makeup artist he could figure out to do in Telluride. And we got somebody new that was available at 6 a.m. the next morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we figured that out and handled that situation within an hour. And so, these things are things that you're going to have to do as an elopement photographer. And like, I guess we could have been like, not our problem, but we like to go above and beyond for our couples. And Todd won a lot of brownie points for finding a new hair and makeup artist and basically saving the day. So yeah, these aren't things that you want to avoid. It's things you want to embrace. And like, the more you reach out to people and connect with people, the better off you're going to be.
Yeah, and having the experience and practice of like doing it and like troubleshooting real time is just part of it. So yeah, having that practice is invaluable. So then when you do have a paying client, you'll be prepared, if not like the exact scenario, but at least you like have had some experience of like solving a problem on short order to make your couple happy.
Yeah, totally. And if you're worried about like the cost and stuff of styled shoots, you can do them fairly inexpensively. Again, like, bridal stores will lend out dresses for free most of the time, except for cleaning costs. So if you don't get them dirty, you should be fine. When we hosted our workshop in Iceland, I tried my hardest to get some hair and makeup artists that would go out to our cabins that were in the middle of nowhere. and I couldn't get one. So I just prepared all the models, which were really just couples and friends and stuff like that. Like I prepared them ahead of time that Iceland vendors are kind of flaky and be able to do your own hair and makeup. So we didn't have vendors for that. And I even got some mixed dried flowers and faux flowers and stuff like that for bouquets. So you can totally do things cheaply, inexpensively. You can do it any way you want. So really it's all about, instead of thinking about how other people are doing it or the right way to do it, think about how you want to run your business and the type of clients you want to attract and the type of elopements you want to shoot, and just emulate that and really make it about the people you're trying to attract and the business you're trying to build. And yeah, align it all with that. And a couple quick tips for planning your own styled shoots. And one of the reasons why I've always offered to pay vendors and pay couples and stuff like that is because when people are doing things for free, they might be more willing to drop out at the last seconds, because I've had that happen. My coaching students have had that happen where vendors kind of drop out or a couple drops out last minute and you're kind of scrambling. So yeah, like that may still end up happening even if you pay somebody, but I think vendors are really excited to get photos done themselves and be able to kind of like play around maybe with like a new hairstyle or a new type of bouquet color arrangement. So like, don't ever discount the fact that like vendors might be super excited to work with a photographer to kind of execute their own little creative visions too. But yeah, again, like whether vendors backing out, needing backup plans, getting a dress dirty, just like keeping your couple happy, like those are all real life skills that you need to have as an elopement photographer. So don't think of styled shoots as like just getting pretty photos. It's really making you a well-rounded elopement photographer.
Yeah.
So hopefully that was helpful. And yeah, we may do another workshop. We'll see. We didn't do one at all this year. Now I'm kind of missing all the like, I don't know, hanging out with photographers. Like we haven't hung out with that many this year compared to last year. So you might see me drop something.
Yeah. Do you want to dangle like some potential locations like that we've talked about? Again, there's nothing official.
Nothing official.
Like, where have we been talking about potentially doing one, Megan?
We've been talking about Peru because we're going there soon. And Peru is beautiful. The Andes Mountains are insane. There's turquoise lakes and valleys and snow-capped mountains. The architecture there is beautiful. The culture is awesome. The people are kind. And we're traveling there for our birthdays soon. And I've been there before. And through all my research, I'm like, dang, I kind of want to do a workshop here. And it's like, no one really elopes in Peru. And it's like the perfect place. Like the mountains are insane. I think people just get a little scared because it's South America. But every time I've been to South America, it's been amazing and safe and awesome, and people are kind, except for the time that I got my passport and my wallet stolen. But anyway, keep an eye out or DM me if you're like, you better do this Peru workshop, because the more people that tell me I should do it, then I'll probably end up doing it because I want to make you guys happy. So anyway.
And less exotic, we've talked about doing something like or the San Juan Mountains of Colorado, so like Telluride, Ouray.
My favorite place.
Durango, Colorado. So that's also on the short list of possibilities.
And then there's also always Iceland, because I love Iceland. I know it really well at this point. I've been there multiple times. We've done 2 workshops there, incorporating multiple different locations. And Iceland's just so easy and beautiful and stunning and just so cool. So yeah, who knows?
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. So thanks for listening. Go out and do some styled shoots. Make sure you're incorporating locations and activities that you want to photograph in the future, and have fun with it. Don't overcomplicate it. Bye. thanks so much for joining us on this week's episode of Stoked. If you enjoyed the show and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe, leave a review, and tell a friend. If you're looking for more inspiring elopement photography content, check us out on Instagram at Megan McPhail. And if you'd like to hear more about my business coaching and how I can personally help you hit six figures as an elopement photographer, then check out my website at www.meganmcphail.com.